secretary please call the roll?
Director O'Halloran.
Present.
Director Peterson.
Present.
Director Taylor has notified that she will be here shortly. Director Herndon is excused. And Chair Carr.
Present.
We have 3 present, a quorum of the committee.
The chair will now ask the secretary to lead us in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. The chair invites any members of the audience who wish to participate to do so and asks that those who do not wish to participate please remain silent during the recitation. Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted in person from the Central Services Building. In order to allow us as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is also being broadcast via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream. The links to which may be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si desea escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al 312-626-6799. Nuevamente, 312-626-6799. E introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker slip and bring it to our board clerk, Dr. Mann. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and spell your last name for the record. Individuals who wish to speak virtually on tonight's items were required to register in advance. I ask those who are waiting to speak to remain on the platform until you are called upon to speak. After a speaker's time is up, they may continue to follow the meeting at one of the broadcast options mentioned previously. For the sake of fairness and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. Written testimony will be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53201-2181, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Just a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates all comments should be directed to the chair of the committee. Also, any questions or requests, including those from the public, committee members, or the administration, are to be directed toward the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. For the safety of all and to ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in such harassing or intimidating words or actions will immediately be asked to cease. If such behavior continues, a recess will be called and the offending parties will be removed from the meeting before the meeting resumes. Anyone ejected from the meeting may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, he or she will not be allowed to rejoin the meeting. Also, no one other than members of the board, the staff of the superintendent's office, the Office of Board Governance, and the Office of Accountability and Efficiency, and those who have been invited to present or participate in items of business will be allowed on stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees. Also, for our listening audience, if you wish to access this evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may do so by visiting the meetings, agendas, and minutes page on the MPS website and choosing online agendas. Now, let's begin. Madam Secretary, item 1.
Item number 1 is action on monthly personnel matters. Action on classified transactions, action on certificated appointments, action on the leaves of absence, the report on certificated resignations and classified retirements, and the affirmative action report. The administration recommends that the board approve the promotions, appointments, and leaves as listed in the attachments to this item to be effective upon board approval.
Would the administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Carr, members of the committee, Keith Posley, Superintendent of Schools. We're asking for your approval of the monthly personnel and reporting items before you. Adria Matalini, Chief Human Resources Officer, is here with me this evening, and between the two of us, we are able to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? President Peterson?
Thank you. I'd be interested in knowing if the resignations, retirements for September 2022, how do they compare with previous years?
Madam Secretary? Or, I'm sorry, Administration?
Chair Carr, Director Peterson, members of the committee, Adria Matalini, Chief Human Resources Officer. Right now, we are trending pretty similar to what we had last year. So we're hoping we could continue that and maybe outpace that, and have hiring versus the resignations. But I think we're on par, not a huge difference than it was last year.
President Peterson, follow up?
Thank you, that's it.
Do any other members of the committee wish to make comments or ask questions? Madam Secretary?
Madam Chair, for our listening audience, Director Taylor has joined the committee.
Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we do have one speaker that registered to speak on this item.
What is the,
Speakers.
okay, sorry.
Go ahead. So if we could go to the speakers, yep.
If we can, oh, I'm sorry. First speaker, Amy Mitsialko.
Mizialko. Chair Carr and AFP committee members, I have the document for item 1 here that shows that MPS hired 4 certified special education teachers this month. To make up for the shortage of substitute teachers and teachers in this district, paraprofessionals are being reassigned into substitute teaching positions where they are paid only for the exact minutes of their student contact time. If this administration wants to retain the workers it has and recruit new workers, this administration cannot continue to nickel and dime the people they depend on to staff classrooms for students every day. We demand that paraprofessionals who are substitute teaching a full regular school day be paid a full day's wage for substitute teaching, period. Additionally, another area in extreme need of staff is special education. MPS is required by law to provide mandated services to students with an IEP. To fill that gap, special education teachers, speech and language pathologists, also ESL teachers are asked to volunteer to perform those additional mandated duties, in addition to the already high demand work they are required to do in their actual job. And are they asked to volunteer to do this extra work on behalf of students at time and a half or double time, as they would be in any other work position where overtime is done? No. MPS administration has decided that they're going to pay volunteers who go above and beyond their workday to do these additional vital duties for students on a volunteer basis. They're going to pay them at a pay cut. They're going to pay them 50% of their hourly rate. We are not demanding time and a half or double time. We are simply demanding that teachers who volunteer their invaluable time to take on vital additional duties for students are paid their regular hourly rate while performing this volunteer work. This should be acted upon immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Adrian Hicks.
Adrian Hicks, Hicks. I'm speaking tonight to make sure that there is a full day pay for paraprofessionals who are working as substitute teachers. To make up for the shortage of substitute teachers, paraprofessionals are routinely placed into substitute teaching assignments where they are paid for the exact minutes of the student contact time. MPS will continue to lose workers and fail to attract new workers if the administration continue nickeling and diming current staff. As the president of the Milwaukee Educational Assistant Association, I repeat the demand that paraprofessionals who substitute as teachers full-time during the day get paid a full day's wage for substitute teaching. And I also echo the demands that teachers be paid their hourly rate when they volunteer for additional responsibilities outside of their regular duties. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more public testimonies?
Madam Chair, that completes public testimony on this item.
Thank you. Do any other committee members wish to speak or make comments? Go ahead. Director Taylor.
I wanted to make sure you said, thank you, Madam Chairwoman Carr. This is more for the administration. I remember a while back, there was a resolution that came for teachers, and we were going to work on something for those paras that were also subbing in the classroom. Do we have an update on what that is, or do we have a tentative timeline?
Administration.
Chair Carr, Director Taylor, Adrian Maddaleni, Chief Human Resources Officer. Yes, we've had discussions about that policy or the procedure regarding the paraprofessionals and their workday. I know we've had the onboarding item that's going to be brought as well today. We are continuing to work on that. We hope to have something back to you specifically, but I want to be clear. Yes, we are paying the paraprofessionals the $8 an hour when they do the coverage of the classrooms. So that is in place and being implemented as we speak. I just want to make sure that that is known while we clarify any other issues that may be in place with regard to the paraprofessional workday. I'm happy to have those conversations with MTEA to get those resolved.
Director Taylor, any follow-up?
Yes. Thank you for that. And I know it went from $5 to $8, right? So we've increased it to $3. And I'm not going to belabor the point because I've probably talked about it for years while I've been on here. I came from, being a paraprofessional, parent coordinator, educational assistant. And so I know a lot of times they are working as substitutes because that we are very short, right? And so I almost feel like I got to pull an O'Halloran move, maybe not today, but pretty soon, if we don't come to some type of consensus to make them also feel that they are appreciated. If we're talking about, and I respect all of the teachers too, but if they're even saying, if they're going to be working extra hours for their regular pay or to get paid, we think about paraprofessionals who are making, I think the most are $25,000 a year, right? The most that they're making without working 2 or 3 jobs. So I'm hoping that we can come to some type of consensus, or I feel like I'm going to have to bring a resolution. But I am more than willing to work with MTA. I thank you all for coming here today, and the administration. And Adrian, if we can work on this without bringing it, but if not, because I feel like I've said it so many times, that will be my next step.
Administration.
Chair Carr, Director Taylor, members of the committee, Adrian Maddaleni, Chief Human Resources Officer. Yep, I'm happy to take on those conversations and hopefully get to consensus so we don't need to get to a resolution.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chairwoman. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? President Peterson?
One of the questions I have is if, regarding the other issue of the hourly rate for special ed and others who end up volunteering to do the IEPs. What's the status of that conversation with the MTA?
Administration?
Chair Carr, President Peterson, Jennifer Mims Howe, Chief Academic Officer. One of the reasons that this year we did not offer the hourly rate for teachers who were volunteering to work with students after hours is that the number of students we have in our program has decreased. We also have the opportunity to have students be part of Elevate K-12, as well as other programs where students can receive that support. So that is one of the reasons that we did not offer the hourly rate for the teachers. They are getting the part-time certificated rate, those who are volunteering to work with the students after the workday.
Director Peterson, any follow-up?
I'm not aware of one of the programs that you mentioned, or could you explain that? Or what,
The K-12, Elevate K-12.
Yeah.
Chair Carr, members of the committee, Elevate K-12 is a platform that we're using where we have a teacher that it's videoed in with a staff member in place in some of the hard-to-field areas. The math classrooms or major science classrooms as well. And this is basically at the secondary level, where we will have a para or either another teacher that's in the building, SST, or someone that is filling in as management of the class, where the instruction is given by a certified teacher with the Wisconsin license from Elevate K-12.
Director Peterson?
Thank you for that explanation. I'm a little still confused about the issue of the hourly rate for a volunteer who works and is correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things they're doing is doing the IEPs for students because a paraprofessional or substitute can't do that. Is that correct?
Administration?
Chair Carr, President Peterson, yes, that is correct. Teachers are writing the IEPs for the students during this time.
Director Peterson, any follow-up?
I would personally also encourage the district the administration to work with the MTA to resolve this. And it seems that, in talking to some of the teachers who are teaching children with special needs, I know they're struggling to the max. There's vacancies, and I know we all know that. And it seems that it would be only fair for them to receive additional pay when they volunteer. I hope that I hope both of these issues can be resolved as soon as possible.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
Madam Chair? I believe Director O'Halloran is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. I move approval of the administration's recommendations regarding the promotions, appointments, and leaves as listed in the attachments to the item.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? No? Okay. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the monthly personnel matters. Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2, which is action on recommended administrative appointments, promotions, reassignments and reclassifications, salary increases and decreases, and the limited-term employment contracts exceeding 60 days. The administration recommends that the board, 1, authorize the individuals to be promoted, reassigned, or reclassified, to receive the decreases or increases in salary, and be appointed to the classifications indicated in the attachments to this item, as on the dates as indicated, and approve the LTE contracts exceeding 60 days to be effective as indicated in the attachment.
Would the administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Carr and members of the committee, we are requesting your approval of these items as outlined in this month's administrative appointments, promotions, reclassifications, salary adjustments, and LTE contracts. Adria Matalini is here with me this evening, and between the two of us, we can answer any questions that you may have. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Adria. Adria?
Thank you, Chair Carr, members of the committee, Adria Matalini, Chief Human Resources Officer. Just want to bring to your attention, we did bring forward an updated appointment list. We have a few additional names we were able to sneak in at the last minute. I want to bring your attention to that, and there was a couple names on the LTE that were crossed out, that were clerical errors that were there, so we removed them out. So just for clarity and transparency, wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Okay. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item?
I'd like to move approval of the recommendations of the administrations on these appointments.
Is there any further discussion? Will the secretary please, do we need a second? Okay. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the administrative appointments, promotions, reassignments, and reclassifications, salary increases and decreases, and the limited-term employment contracts exceeding 60 days. On the motion to approve the administration's recommendation, Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor. Aye. And Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 3, which is action on approval of Resolution 2223R-004 by Director Taylor on onboarding new paraprofessionals. The recommendation is that the board, 1, adopt the resolution, and 2, approve the paraprofessional onboarding plan for 2022, as indicated in the attachment to this item.
Director Taylor, sponsor of this resolution, do you wish to make comments?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Carr. And thank you for that. And I want to say, I want to move approval. And just really quickly, I did speak with the administration. We had a meeting. They were more than willing to work with me. It was some things that they had already been working on to bring this about. Seeing as I'm coming from being a para, just some of the things for your first day of work. Some of this may seem like it's simple or basic, but you don't know coming into that door. Like, what are the rules and regulations? Exactly what is your job duty? And I understand we all got to be hands-on. Like, where do I put my items? You know, the school culture, what is the school, the emergency procedures, and things of that nature. And as we are saying, we want the best and the brightest, we have to ensure that we are giving that initiative as we're bringing on the best and the brightest, that they have what they need equipped to help our babies become the best and the brightest. So I thank you for this. Once again, I move approval and thank the administration for working with me on this as well.
Thank you. Would the administration please present this item?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, in May of 2022, the board referred Resolution 2223R-004 by Director Taylor to create an onboarding policy for newly hired paraprofessionals. This evening, I will have Mr. Lonnie Anderson, the Senior Director of Organizational Development, who will outline the plan as we have it, and after which we will be more than happy to entertain any questions that you may have. Mr. Anderson.
Good evening. Members of the committee, I am Lonnie Anderson, Senior Director of Organizational Development. Our department facilitate district and school-wide professional development, educator effectiveness, turnaround arts, and induction and support for new teachers, which includes onboarding for new teachers. This is why I am here to speak with you regarding the Resolution 2223R-004 for the onboarding of the paraprofessionals, a valuable MPS group who work with our students daily. As always, our 5 priorities for success is very important, and we directly align with that green circle in the middle, developing our staff. Because MPS paraprofessionals serve as assistants to teachers, we understand that paraprofessionals could benefit from many of the same training sessions that we offer our teachers. Paraprofessional onboarding. Onboarding of paraprofessionals is in line with the Administrative Policy 6.01. It states that the board is committed to employing the most effective staff possible for all schools and departments, and that the board endorses the development of specific factors and conditions that make schools and departments more effective. Onboarding is the process by which new employees acquire the skills, knowledge, and behaviors to become effective contributors to an organization. Organizational development through the Division of Induction and Support currently provide New Educators Institute, NEI, which is a 5-day orientation for all newly hired teachers. Organizational development seeks to provide a similar model for newly hired paraprofessionals. Again, because MPS paraprofessionals serve as assistants to teachers, we understand that paraprofessionals could benefit from many of the same training sessions that we offer our teachers. We propose utilizing and reimagining the current NEI model and including newly hired paraprofessionals. In a meeting with Director Taylor, we spoke about our current New Educator Institute, NEI, which is a 5-day orientation for all newly hired teachers. We also spoke about the services that the Department of Organizational Development currently provides and continuing a partnership with HR, Human Resources, and Specialized Services to provide additional services for paraprofessionals in the future. We propose that this 3-day onboarding would include such topics as ambitious instruction, accelerating learning overview, courageous conversations about race, parts 1, 2, and 3, classroom management, introduction to special education and inclusive practices, gender and identity inclusion, human resources, and it would include school site visits. The school-based onboarding site visits would include school initiatives, school tour, support staff introductions, resources and logistical support, and introductions to buddy staff. The proposed budget for this initiative includes an average paraprofessional salary with benefits being $25.64 per hour, a 3-day professional development at 7.5 hours daily, a total of 22.5 hours for the 3 days. Total 3-day salary for each paraprofessional is $576.90. Estimated number of paraprofessionals would be around 350 for a total cost of $201,915 for the 3-day professional development. The implementation plan for 22-23 would start in September 2022 and would go through December of 2022. Thank you. Any further questions? I'm here to answer.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director O'Halloran?
I just want to say thank you to Director Taylor for bringing this resolution and to administration for putting together this plan. It definitely, I would be happy to support this, and I think it looks like a great plan. So thank you for this.
Do any other members wish to make comments or ask questions? Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
No request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Okay. Motion by Director Taylor? Okay. Okay.
On the motion by Director Taylor to approve the administration's recommendation, which is approval of the resolution and the implementation plan for the onboarding of new paraprofessionals as presented in the attachment to this item. Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Carr.
Proud aye.
We have 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 4, which is action on the monthly finance matters. Authorization to make purchases, the report on change orders in excess of $25,000, the report on budget transfers, the report on contracts under $50,000 and their cumulative totals, the report on monthly grant awards, and the acceptance of donations. The recommendation is that the board authorize the purchases and 2, accept the donations as listed in the attachments to this item with appropriate acknowledgement to be made on behalf of the board.
Would the administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Carr and members of the committee, this evening we are asking your approval of the monthly finance matters before you. Janita Dumchek is here with me, and between the two of us, we are ready to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? No. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran?
I move approval of administration's recommendation.
Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the monthly finance matters, Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 5, which is action on the awards of professional services contracts. The recommendation is that the board authorize the professional services contracts as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Will the administration please present the item?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, this evening we're asking for your approval of the professional services contracts before you. Janita Dumchek is here with me, and between the two of us, we are prepared to answer any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Okay, see none? Yes, President Peterson.
I just want to thank the administration for working with the Kane Communication Group regarding our media and advertising and marketing. I believe that that's a good investment for us, and it will help the district in the future. Thank you.
All right. Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? President Peterson?
I move approval of the administration's request for action on award of professional services contracts.
Okay. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion To approve the administration's recommendation relative to the professional services contracts. Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 6, which is action on the awards of exception to bid request. The recommendation is that the item be forwarded to the board without a recommendation.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, we are asking for your approval of the exception of the bid contracts that are before you. Janina Dumchek is here with me, and we are prepared to answer any questions that you may have. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Janine.
Chair Carr, members of the committee, Janina Domchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. With respect to this item, specifically contract number 8, it's the attachment number 8, which is for Milwaukee Education Partnership. This contract's write-up and contract scope will be modified and presented to the board. The reason for the modification is the write-up states 45 students, and that is for the overall scope of the project, whereas this particular contract is for 10 students, and the total dollar amount of the contract would be at $6,417 per student, not to exceed $64,170.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Madam.
members of the committee, given that the item had already been published, we asked the administration to provide that information tonight. And so that with this information, if the committee is satisfied, you could take action on the item tonight to forward it to the board, however you wish to proceed, whether it's approval or forwarding it without recommendation, based on the information that was just shared.
Before we go there, are there any members, or there's one member of the public who wish to speak? Gerard Randall?
Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Carr. Gerard Randall. I live at 112 East Brown Street in Milwaukee, zip code 53212. The Milwaukee Education Partnership was convened over 22 years ago to help bring students to academic success at grade level, assist in providing access to post-secondary academic opportunities, and to provide quality teachers for their classrooms. The Milwaukee Public Schools is a founding member of the partnership and continues to be its leading partner, which includes institutions such as the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, Cardinal Stritch University, the Medical College of Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin System Schools, and Employ Milwaukee, to name a few. 10 years ago, the MEP began to develop partnerships with historically black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, and with tribal colleges to support Milwaukeeans attending those institutions and to encourage HBCU graduates to consider Milwaukee for their professional experience. We have several initiatives to drive these objectives, including the upcoming HBCU Sunday and HBCU College Fair held annually at Milwaukee's Vincent High School. The initiative before you is an iteration of the effort to recruit, prepare, and retain educators of color for the district. One such successful MEP collaboration with MPS is the PMAC program, and another is Leading Men Fellows. The proposed initiative will recruit HBCU graduates in the field of education to serve in the Milwaukee Public Schools, beginning first as student teachers and later, after a successful experience, offered a contract by MPS. The pre-professionals would be housed and mentored in Milwaukee for a semester. They would experience the city, interact with the community's African American leaders and professionals, and receive guidance from MPS professionals and staff to refine their teaching in an urban setting. The initial HBCU participants are Jackson State University, Tennessee State University, and Lane College of Tennessee.
Madam Chair, that completes the public testimony on this item.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the committee? Oh, I'm sorry. President Peterson.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank Gerard Randall and the administration for working on this. You know, it has obviously been a priority for the district for many years to increase the number and percentage of African-American teachers in our district. This is a very creative proposal, and you know, it starts small, but if it brings success, I think then it can be expanded. I think the biggest question I have is whether or not included in the budget are some good winter coats, so people from the south don't freeze up here and decide to return home. But I say that in jest, please.
Okay. Director Taylor?
Thank you for that, and thank you. My question isn't for this one, even though I'm glad to see that we are going to HBCUs. I know I've talked extensively with the administration on that, so glad to see it. Mine was more on the question of, I believe, Facing History in Ourselves, Inc. I just wanted to know, was this a new contract or continuing, and if what other schools are there in besides the one that I'm seeing within this report? I don't know.
Administration?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, just combing through right now, and we will have an answer for you very briefly. It just did not want to have dead air time. So, Janine, are you ready?
Chair Carr, members of the committee, Janina Damchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. I believe you were asking for the list of schools that this would apply to. Did I hear your question correctly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, now make sure I'm talking to the mic. Yeah, the list of school that this is applying to, and also, is this a new contract or have they been working within MPS? I just don't recall it. Seems great, though.
Administration?
I believe that this is a new contract, and I do not have the list of schools, but I am happy to provide that information for you as quickly as possible, hopefully before the end of this meeting. But otherwise, it would be first thing tomorrow morning. My apologies, we don't have that list available right now.
Thank you. Any follow-up?
Yeah, thank you. And if they can, I would say just provide the information, if we don't get it tonight, to the whole committee so that we know. And I guess I'm looking forward to seeing the work that this organization does. I guess I'll be putting in some research tonight to find out more about it.
Thank you. Administration?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, we having the chair, the sponsor of this item to come out, who's Travis Pinter, will be stepping out to walk us through exactly the ins and outs of this particular contract.
Thank you.
So if we could go on, and we'll come back as soon as he's available.
Director O'Halloran?
Thank you. I just wanted to ask a question in the intervening moments. So can you just tell me once again what the updated contract would be for the other consideration that we were talking about? You said it would be for 10 students, and what was the dollar amount? I just want to make sure I understand.
Administration?
Director Carr, or Chair Carr, Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, Janina Damchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. With respect to the Milwaukee Education Partnership contract that we are bringing with respect to a modification, it would be 10 students at $6,417 per student for a total contract amount not to exceed $64,170.
Director O'Halloran, any follow-up?
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Oh, okay, sorry. Administration?
Director Carr, members of the committee, Travis Pinter, Senior Director of Specialized Services. apologize, it was difficult to hear back there on the one question. So this is a question around facing history, correct? Okay. That curriculum is being piloted in Douglas School. That's the only school it's in for now. That was the initial thinking on it. It came as a request via a Douglas School Administration and their social studies department with our violence prevention program.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions? Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item?
I'll move approval of the item.
Okay. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Madam Chair, just for clarity on the item, Director Taylor's moving approval of the award of exception to bid request with the update to the Milwaukee Education Partnership contract as outlined by the administration here at tonight's meeting.
I would like to say yes, but then I have a clarifying question, Madam Secretary. I know they were able to update us, but was it updated for the public? Because if not, then I want to move it forward just to the whole board. We'll take that one out.
Madam Chair, we did not receive, the item had already been published, but what we could do is after the meeting, publish the updated information so that members of the public would be able to view the proposed changes prior to the board approving it. So between now and the board approving the item, the updated contract and item will be posted in the electronic school board.
I'm fine with that. Yes, then I'll be approving it as you stated in the first instance.
Okay, so, Madam Chair?
Will the secretary please call the roll? Okay.
On Director Taylor's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the award of exception to bid contracts with the modifications to the Milwaukee Education Partnership contract as outlined by the administration here tonight on the board floor. And that is a change to the number of students being served
And the dollar amount.
and the dollar amount of the contract. On the motion as read into the record, Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor, and Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 7, action on a request to waive Administrative Policy 3.09, Parent 9, Parent E, and extend a contract with Bolter LLC for nutrition services. The request is to waive the policy based on the availability of the products due to the supply chain volatility. And the recommendation is that the board waive the policy and extend the contract as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Would the administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Carr and members of the committee, this evening we're requesting your approval of this item as it relates to an extension to the contract with Belter LLC for nutrition services. I have Janine Adamczyk here with me this evening, and between the two of us, we are prepared to answer any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? President Peterson?
I move approval of the administration's request.
Is there any further discussion? All right. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion to approve the administration's request to waive administrative policy and to extend a contract with Bolter LLC for nutrition services. On the motion as read into the record, Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor, and Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item 8, action on a request to waive Administrative Policy 3.09, Parent 9, Parent E, and extend a contract with Gallagher Bassett Services, Inc. 4, third-party administration of the district's self-insured workers' compensation program. The recommendation is that the board waive the policy and approve the contract as set forth in the attachment to this item. The request to waive the policy is based on the opportunity to secure competitive pricing.
Okay. Will the administration please present the item?
Yes, Chair Carr and members of the committee, this evening we're requesting your approval of this item as it relates to an extension of the contract with Gallagher Bassett Services, Inc. for third-party administration of the district's self-insured workman's comp program. I have Janine Adamczyk here with me this afternoon, and we are more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran?
Thank you. I move that we approve administration's recommendation to waive administrative policy 3.099E and approve the contract as set forth.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? All right. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director O'Halloran's motion is read into the record to approve the administration's recommendation. Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor. And Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, what's the next item?
The next item is item number 9, action on monthly facilities matters. The FMS award of construction contracts, the professional services contracts, and the recommendation and report with possible action regarding air quality. The recommendation is that the board approve the attached construction contract and professional services contracts as set forth.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, we are asking for your approval of the monthly facilities matters as relates to awards of construction, professional services contracts, as well as the air quality report. I have Sean Kane here with me this evening, who will be providing the board with an air quality report. Sean?
Good evening, Vice Carr, members of the committee. Sean Kane, Senior Director of Facilities and Maintenance Services. I will follow up with the air quality report at this point. As mentioned in the previous report, DFMS is continually working with our 4 current integrated project delivery contractors, IPD teams for short, that were approved back in July of 2021. Our DFMS team has been working with our contracted owners representative, Concord Group, and I asked them to provide me a summary of activities through the September of 2022. After IPD contractors identified project goals and critical objectives during the later part of 2021, scopes related to air quality were defined after reviewing school information, site investigations, and checking the DFMS deferred maintenance list. Contracts were issued based on IPD cost estimates within their school assignments. The IPD teams, the owner's representative, and DFMS has been meeting weekly to discuss budget, schedule, and address any outstanding scope concerns. The IPD teams have been working on the design and construction documents to solicit formal competitive bids from their subcontractors conforming to the requirements in Board Policy 3.09. Bids continue to come in for testing and balancing, water bottle stations, flooring projects, outdoor classrooms, bug screens, and mechanical projects. By October, we hope to have project budgets solidified to see if the contingency we have allocated needs to address cost overruns with the unpredictable market or additional deferred maintenance projects that could move forward. Concurrently, IPD contractors have been working on mechanical projects, new flooring installations, and water bottle stations that will address air quality. The team had to be creative due to the aggressive schedule and ESSER deadlines, so scopes were performed earlier this year and continuing on as we speak. In addition, DFMS and the owner's representative have been working with IPD teams to identify long lead time items such as bug screens and flooring product to purchase these materials so we can expedite construction schedules that run through the September of 2023. Efforts to get testing and balancing done on mechanical projects is well underway as schools finished up this year and continue on right now. Once reports are generated, we can address any potential deficiencies on mechanical systems to improve the air quality in buildings. As for the mass quantity of projects going on across the district, the FMS, the owner's representative, and IPD contractors have been in constant touch with school leaders to coordinate and schedule all efforts within the buildings. That concludes my report. At this point, I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director O'Halloran?
I just want to thank administration. I know that, like, it's been famine time for so long with facilities, it feels like, and all of a sudden it's like, now go. And so we've asked an incredible amount of work for your team in a short amount of time, and I appreciate all the work that's going on. And I just wanted to also note, like, in the report that's attached, I appreciated kind of conceptualizing, like, flooring. This would be like 2.5 football fields. Like, it's it helps make it more accessible for people who aren't involved in that day-to-day activities. It makes it more understandable. So I really appreciate all the work that's going on, and I appreciate the way that you're able to convey it to those of us who may not be facilities experts. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Peterson?
I'll just echo what Director O'Halloran said. Thank you very much. I know there's lots of projects. I'm amazed that we get as much done given how many projects there are. It seems to be on every road and every building downtown and everywhere else. So the fact that we have moved efficiently on some of these items is a tribute to your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Chasen?
Thank you, Chair Carr. Matt Chasen, Office of Accountability and Efficiency. I was wondering if the administration at this point had any indication or any early warning that with the ESSER deadlines that we have, do we see anything in either the bidding, in the design, or the construction that would lead us to believe we're going to hit a pitch point on the horizon as we attempt to spend the dollars down with the deadlines that we have?
Administration?
Chair Carr, members of the committee, Sean Kane, Senior Director for Facilities Maintenance Services. Yeah, we meet weekly with the owner's representative. They're kind of an extension of, I'll say, our contracted workforce. And a lot of the stuff that we've impressed upon them is we need to really, keep your finger on the pulse where things are at with contractors. A perfect example that wasn't the ideal scenario is that recently this summer, we were performing a lot of flooring installation projects, and yet one of the biggest flooring manufacturers went under, and they got bought out, and we really had to shift gears trying to procure material and, again, trying to get flooring in place. So we are looking to be creative in certain areas where if we know we're able to tackle air quality elements, this could be ESSER 2 projects, ESSER 3 projects. We've streamlined a lot. I mean, we've worked with the city. We've tried to expedite the permitting process, working with the city of Milwaukee, the plan examiners. We actually went ahead and pre-purchased a lot of the outdoor structures, just knowing that steel is very difficult. It's challenging to get. We went ahead and purchased a bunch of water bottle stations. So in every aspect, we've been trying to be very aggressive and creative in seeing what ways we could streamline our processes. Is it something that's fluid? Yes. I'm not going to lie that, there's challenges in place, but right now we're doing everything in our possible efforts, working with the IPD contractors, along with the owners' reps, and to see if there's other ways to be creative to see how we can get material. That's the biggest challenge right now. Is not saying the labor's not always there either, but you can't install anything if you don't have material in hand. So right now, we do meet weekly, and there is, little anxiety, but also, too, just being realistic. We're trying to find other ways if we needed to change gears. But, no, we feel comfortable right now, but we just got to keep moving in the right direction.
Any follow-up? No? Okay. Do any other committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran?
I move approval of administration's recommendation of the attached construction contracts.
Any further discussions? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation for the award of professional services contracts and the construction contracts, and to accept the air quality report. On the motion as read into the record, Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Carr.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
There being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned. Good night.